Hey, it's MK, and I am back with another Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. This is the gorgeous sketch that we will be creating today. I have pulled out some random bits like this leftover black cardstock. I cut out 4 copies of my gears. It's a digital file that is located in my shop. Sorry, shameless plug. I also pulled out these alphas from this Stamp Market stamp and die set. But I set them off to the side and completely spaced them. So I don't even know why I kept that in there. Anyways, I also took out some leaves and things from this 49 End Market die cut set. I believe it's from the Artistry Essentials die cut set. And then I have this sticker sheet, Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Great Escape. I planned on using that other butterfly, so that way I had 2 butterflies. And then I thought I was going to bring in a pop of red just because of a mixed media that I brought in, but I'm not too sure how much it'll show up. I have 4 photos, and then I was going to use this stencil by Elizabeth Craft until I found this already done background for me. And basically what this is it was a leftover of when I had too much media, and I just went ahead and pulled another cardstock and used up the media before cleaning up my supplies. So I have some paper glazes in fern green that I do not plan on using, and then brown dahlia that I do use, and this golden rose that I also use. But the green one, I was going to do something different and then realized that it's just too big. So for Nuvos, I have some vintage ones that were in chocolate chip, and I believe it was pumice stone. And then I have some regular Nuvo, I think it's called Crystal Drops in copper penny. These 2 are stone drops. One is mustard jar. I'm trying to find the names of them because they're not all in the same spot. So there is the mustard jar, and the other one is called Gold Rush. All right. And lastly, what I have is a dream drop, and this one is Moroccan Flame. That's where I was telling you guys. Oh, I also pulled out this one to try to hopefully use it up, but I forgot about it because it's so tiny. But I was thinking that this Moroccan Flame would be a little bit on the red side, considering, flame and fire. I thought of red for some weird reason instead of orange. So, yeah, that's where I thought maybe I'd bring in that red, maybe not. I don't know. Let me see what I'm going to do first. All right. So out of all of these die cut gears, I picked out 4 large ones that are going to go behind my photos. Instead of me cutting my photos into shapes, I'm going to put the shape behind my photo, if that makes any sense. So the way that this sketch is laid out, you're supposed to have your photos in shapes and then more of the exact same shapes, scattered above it and below it. And I kind of thought that I would just use the sketch as a background and then just lay my photos right on top of that gorgeous background, because I do love this sketch. I just wasn't in the mood to cut my photos into hexagons. Plus, I always print my photos a little bit on the large side, so that way I can trim it down but still have like a blown up size photo so I can see what's in the photo. All right, I slowed this down a bit because of the fact that somebody has asked me to slow it down. Normally I do it on hyper speed so you guys can see the process, but it's not so uber super slow. So what I do is I divide and conquer, kind of, sort of. So I have divided up my gears and decided that I want light gears and dark gears, which is kind of a good contrast. I always feel like when you look at, any kind of gear out there on the market, or gear set, or, and I don't mean like embellishment gears, I mean like industrial, you'll see that they all have different colors based off of, I want to say how they're manufactured. It's based off of their grade is what they call that. So copper gears, brass gears, things like that, they're a lot softer gears, so they don't have a whole lot of torque to them. But when you see the darker gears, those gears are actually made for a lot of torque, a lot of tonnage, a lot of push and pull, and all that stuff. And so I like to mix my gears because of that. Like a watch is a great example. The watch gears, they do have, you've got your silver gears, your bright gold gears, which I don't know if they're copper or brass. And then you've got your dull gears. And even though they're kind of on the silver side, they're a little bit on the browny silver side. And so basically you could see which gears are the workhorse ones and those are not the so pretty ones, is kind of how you can look at it. So anyways, long story short, I do that. I split everything up and then I decide that I start off with my glaze because the glaze gives me the most coverage. And then what I have discovered with my Nuvo, especially since they came out with these stone drops, oh my stars, they are my favorite, especially on gears, because that's when I get the texture. I am not looking for the color per se, but the texture of the stone or the sand or the grit that is in these stone drops. And after I add the stone drops, I end up adding the other Nuvo on top, and then that picks up the peaks and valleys of the stone. But you lay down such a thin layer of everything that by the time you're done going from one color to the other, everything is dry, which is what I love about this project too. There's no waiting time to wait for it to dry. I also like doing this in a way because I love that no two gears are the same. No matter how hard I try, I will never be able to make two gears are the same. Now, after I do the glaze, I do clean up my work surface, but when I'm working on the Nuvo, I don't clean up my work surface. Now, the reason that is, and I also put down this messy mat by Close to My Heart because of my lighting situation. Ever since I rearranged my desk, I've got my main light that it runs lengthwise into my room. And so when I had my desk parallel to that, you never even saw that I had that light. But now that I've got my desk perpendicular to that, the light runs straight through my desk and it's massively annoying, but I can't see it until I watch my videos because everything's pointed straight down, right? So I thought I'd throw down my messy mat to save you guys that huge glare and not be able to see what I'm doing on these gears. Back to the paper glaze, the reason why I clean it up before moving on to the Nuvo is because as it is drying on the messy mat, it starts to flake off. And one of the things I didn't want to do is get those flakes in my liquid of the Nuvos. Now, I pulled out quite a bit of Nuvo because I love all the different colors and textures and things like that, you guys. So what I did was for the lighter gears, I picked out kind of sort of the darker Nuvo to put over it, so that way it had a contrast. And then for the darker gears, I did the exact opposite. I pulled out the lighter Nuvos to put on top. But then I also threw in this Moroccan Flame that is a dream drop. Now, this is the first time I'll be using a dream drop on my gears. Now, here's a close-up of the lighter gear, just to let you guys know, and then I'm going to kind of sort of speed it up because this video would have been like 100 minutes long. But now I'm in super speed mode just so that way I can finish within the time frame before my voice gives out and I have nothing else to say to you guys. Speaking of drying super fast, if you notice, I put all of my copper, or all of this, I think that's chocolate chip. I'm putting all of my chocolate chip on top of my gear, and then it's dried so fast that I can instantly ink the edges. I didn't have to wait for it to dry because I'm not hardly putting down anything. Now, this here is the Moroccan. It's the last color that I have to put on this gear, and I do love, oh my gosh, it is my new favorite, you guys. Look at that coppery, bronzy shine that it gave these gears. Now, the only reason why I'm inking the edges is to get rid of what the white pieces, the white spots that are kind of left. Now, if I'm thinking correctly, which I never do, I don't know why I do this. I end up covering up the backs, the whole entire front. You can't even tell if this is the front side or the back side, right? So when I do a Cricut cut file, I always assume I have to work from the front. Well, the front always has that lip from the cut, right? So here in a minute, I'm going to show you guys a close-up of the darker ones. Look at all that color and shine and texture. I just love this, you guys. And it's so thick because of all the material I added to it. It's just a great feeling, you guys. I don't know. I love it. Anyways, back to cutting on the Cricut. When I use the Cricut to cut, I assume I have to use the front side of the cut, which, like I said, the blade leaves like a little lip, a little edge. And when I run my finger with a product on it, it doesn't quite get into all the corners because of that raised edge. It instantly just goes straight to the raised edge. And so that is why I use my ink spot to finish off all of those white spots that were missed by the media. But I never think to flip my cuts over and just use the backside, no matter how ugly they are. I seriously never think to do that. So anyways, I'm just trying to get a feel for how this layout is going to go together. I have 4 photos instead of 2. And like I said, I'm just using the sketch as a background guide. And I used gears instead of hexagons, which I think is pretty cool. As much as I love hexagons, I wasn't in the mood for hexagons. Although I do definitely want to revisit the sketch later because of the fact that it is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. And I think that it would look amazing with the hexagons and whatnot as well. So I definitely want to revisit the sketch. But when I was creating this layout, this is what I had in mind, is I wanted my 4 photos and behind each photo, a large gear to represent one of the hexagons, and then have 2 or 3 hexagons continue up and down the page. So that way it kind of sort of represented, even though I knew my area was going to be larger and take up most of the page than just going straight down the center of the page. That's how it always is when you're trying to work with larger photos. Now, here's where I not accidentally, I didn't think about it, but I put all my photos down farther than intended. So I originally wanted 2 extra gears down at the bottom and then 1 extra gear up at the top. But by the time I got done laying everything down and I really didn't want to shift it, I had to shift one of the gears up to the top. So, and in reality, it looks just fine, honestly. So I do continuously lose things. That's why there's a long pause before anything is happening. First, I lost my ink sponge. Second, I lost my my foam tape, or my foam little rectangles here. And the third thing that I lost, oh my gosh, I can't remember. What was it? Oh, I lost my splatter spray, the spray that I was going to use to splatter. That's later. So yes, I continuously started to lose things. And that's when I decide that I'm going to, take a pause and clean my room, because I spend more time looking for things than I do creating. And that frustrates me the most out of anything in this hobby, is looking for something and wasting my creative time, which is very precious, looking for something. So anyways, while I was complaining, I definitely brought in my red little label that I wanted to use, because I thought that Moroccan Flame Nuvo Dream Drop was going to be way on the red side. And when I brought it in and kind of compared it to the gears and whatnot, it did look okay. But then I also didn't like the fact that my title, it says follow your dreams this time, or follow something. I don't remember, you guys. It's those 2 tags, and they make a complete sentence in my brain. And with the red one being right across from it, it didn't really make any sense. And I didn't like the contrast. So I decided not to do it, and I was good to go. I did use 2 different Nuvo sprays for my splatter. One was an olive and the other one was like a bronzy. I don't exactly know the names of them. Honestly, the only thing the Nuvos are good for is the splattery bits, just to let you guys know. And that is it. The photos are just really cool photos of my children standing in a doorway. of, one of the buildings that used to be there back in Bodie. Honestly, it didn't even have a marker to it, so I don't even know what it was or anything like that. It's just a really cool photo op, honestly, in Bodie, because everybody kind of just passes by it. Nobody's interested in it because you can't read on it. And so we took the opportunity to go, hey, that's like a perfect photo spot because it looks like we're the only ones there. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me every day. I love hearing how everybody says, oh, I just had my coffee with you this morning. That is just makes my day, you guys. It really, really does. And thank you so very, very much for that. Anyways, be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. All the YouTubers are listed down below, as well as all of the creators for said sketches. And also, we have a huge Facebook group that shows everyone else that is playing along that's not as active, in other social medias, and they just want to post their creations. I have to tell you guys, I am behind on all the liking and the loving and the commenting. But I am a voyeur, you guys. I am looking at all of them because my jaw's dropping. It is just phenomenal how many followers Christy has during the 30 days of sketches, and how many people participate. Yay. Okay. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.